Welcome to Concussion Talk Podcast. My name is Nick Mercer. This is episode 49. I'll be talking to Katie Bohn. Katie is the Co-President and new podcast host of Queen's University's Concussion Awareness Committee's new podcast with Concussion Talk. I would first like to thank my sponsor, HeadCheck Health. Using simple, powerful technology, HeadCheck Health bridges the gaps in concussion care. Organizations like the Canadian Football League, Track Factory Racing, the Canadian Junior Hockey League, Eastern Washington University, and Volleyball Canada rely on HeadCheck to improve communication and optimize care. Visit headcheckhealth.com for more. Okay, I'm talking to Katie Bohn, and I'll get Katie to talk about herself and what she's doing at Queen's and the Concussion Committee.
Okay, so my name is Katie Bohn, and I am currently a fourth-year physical and health education student from Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. I'm from Ottawa, and I came to Queen's to pursue my passion in physiotherapy, which I'll be pursuing in Australia at the end of this year. I'm also the co-president of the Concussion Awareness Committee at Queen's. And yeah, it's been a really enjoyable experience so far, so I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Well, thanks. So, and as I asked you a segue, and you did very well, Queen's Concussion Awareness Committee, can you talk about the committee and like, who are the members and what do you guys do? Where can people find you, blah, blah, all that stuff?
Yeah, so we're a committee that started in about 2013. Currently, we consist of 15 executive members. We have different positions within sponsorship, events directing, and we also have conference coordination as well, along with a few other positions. And what we do is we try to bridge the gap between concussion awareness and education and students on Queen's campus and in the Kingston community. We try to do this by connecting them with different resources that they can connect with if they're experiencing a concussion or if they just want general education, because ultimately we're trying to increase awareness about what concussions are, how they can affect you and the people around you while being a student at Queen's University.
And how has concussion affected you? And you've told me before you got a few concussions yourself, so could you talk about one or your first one or your most significant or one that stands out to you or how many you've had?
Yeah, so it's pretty unfortunate, obviously, to talk about concussion experiences, but it's what, people can relate to. So for my own experiences, I believe I've experienced about 4 concussions with varying severity. The biggest one that stands out to me was when I was in my 3rd year, which was around this time last year. I was playing hockey, intramural hockey, one night here at Queen's with a bunch of my fellow students. And I was on the ice, and then someone just hit me out of nowhere. And I know that we clashed heads, our helmets hit together, and then I just fell to the ground. And from then on, it was kind of a blur, and I didn't really know what was going to happen from there. And the first thought that was going through my head was, what just happened? I'm so confused.
Yeah.
And I was very scared for what was going to happen, given that I'm currently at school.
And you're on the concussion committee already at this point, right?
Yeah. So I started on the Concussion Awareness Committee in my 2nd year. So this was currently my 2nd year on the committee.
Okay. So when it happened, so who did you? I mean, you obviously saw the doctor at the university, or did you have a good experience with your care, or a notable experience with your care?
Yeah. So given that I'm on the Concussion Awareness Committee, I'm very lucky to have access and knowledge on all the resources that are available at Queen's. So that really led my care. The first thing I did was going to the hospital. So I went to the emergency department late at night because my hockey game ended at about 1 a.m. Yeah. Once everyone got off the ice, I was able to get a drive to the hospital. And then from there, I basically got a referral note from the doctor, which I had to request. It wasn't automatically given for my care by a athletic therapist at Queen's University that they work in our athletics department. And
Okay.
then since I have a close relationship with them, due to being in an athletic therapy internship, I was able to check in every single day with them and get care throughout the weeks following my concussion. And I got to actually be one of the first people to experience one of the new concussion protocols for aftercare, which is really interesting.
So
And
what is that? What is the protocol? What is the state?
so it's a new protocol that was introduced last year or the year before.
By Queens or by a student? Like,
Just like in general research, I don't know if it was just at Queen's, but it was
okay.
kind of introduced in research within a physiotherapist and athletic
Okay.
therapist. And it basically has a lot to do with eye tracking and involving how your eyes and the muscles of your eyes have a lot to do with concussion recovery, because
Yeah.
you
I've
wouldn't
heard that.
think that they do, but that's actually what led my care and what helped me to recover faster.
Nice, nice. So did you find the effects from that concussion in particular, any effects on your schooling or your athletic pursuits or anything like that? Like, did you find anything that you said, oh, I better stop doing this, or I found it too hard to do this, or whatever?
Yeah, so I found it really difficult to do school. Immediately after full exposure, I did try to push myself back into things too quickly because it was in November, and that is nearing the end of our semester because our
Right.
semester
Yeah.
ends in December. So I
Yeah.
was getting close to exams. I didn't really know what to do. So I tried to push myself, and that ended up being a really bad idea.
Yeah.
And I went back, I talked to the doctors, and I ended up getting my exams and all the rest of my assignments deferred until a later date. So
That's
I
good.
could take the time, especially over the holiday break, to recover, focus on gaining back my, concentration and memory, and making sure that I'm not getting any more, long-term headaches or any other issues like that. So it did affect my school. In terms of my sports, I decided in my second semester, so starting in, mid to late January, I decided to go back to indoor soccer, intramurals, instead of hockey. And I decided to go back to that. I found it a bit difficult at times. I've since then decided to not play hockey for the rest of at least my undergraduate career because
And probably not in Australia. Australia would be a bit tough for hockey too, I think.
yeah, I don't know how
Not as
much
common there.
I play hockey, but
Field hockey though. You could play field hockey in
yeah,
Australia.
maybe that's an
No.
option. But I've definitely decided to kind of hold myself back because I'm kind
Yeah.
of nervous about getting another concussion and that
Yeah, of
affecting
course.
my schooling from here on out.
Right. So
Yeah.
you mentioned, I didn't mention this to you before, but you just mentioned the athletic therapy internship. So what do you do in that? Was that when did that start? When did you start that? When did you start that? I should say.
So I started in my second year, and it's basically an internship kind of specialization that you can do within the physical and health education and kinesiology programs at Queen's that allows you to work with the varsity teams at Queen's University and basically be a student athletic therapist. So you would get to be placed with a team, and you could do all of the taping before, massages, ice baths, any of that kind of rehabilitative care within this, like with the supervision of a certified athletic therapist.
Okay, so you don't follow a team. Do you follow just to the home games? Do you?
No, we actually go with them to absolutely everything, all
Oh, yeah.
practices and home and away games. So I found myself traveling a lot with that, which was an interesting experience.
With varsity or with club too, or just varsity?
Yeah, so I worked with 3 teams in my time here. I worked with men's lacrosse, women's volleyball, and men's rugby. So I got definitely kind of
Wow.
all across the board of
Yeah.
different sports. It was really interesting,
Yeah.
and definitely gave me good experience for sure.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I played water polo queens, and I'm sure those guys have had a few concussions themselves. But
Yeah.
I shouldn't speak out of turn there. But but it's a tough sport. But
For sure.
yeah. Going back to the concussion committee, awareness committee. What do you guys have come? You're the co-president, along
Yes.
with who's your co-president?
So, Kate Robertson is the other co-president, and this is our second year on as co-presidents, and both of us are in our fourth year, so we're going to be passing along that torch to someone
Okay.
else next year.
Do you guys have like little mentees that you gotta know who's going to be your next year? Are the people in the community that are gearing up to be next year? Or is it a vote that you take at the beginning of the year?
So basically, we will host applications.
Okay.
So it'll be really interesting to see that, and we're definitely looking forward to considering anybody who wants to apply. And I think being a team of two co-presidents has been the most effective because you get two inputs instead of just one.
Yeah.
So we're really interested in seeing the people that apply, whether they be from the committee, and that'll be a decision that we make probably in about March, April.
Do you find most of your members come from people who've had concussions in the past, or are people just interested in health and that, or physiotherapy, like you say?
Yeah, so it's actually both completely. We do have a lot of people that apply and that are on the committee that have had concussions or multiple concussions before, and people that are interested in the health field, whether that be medicine or physiotherapy, occupational therapy, even business, etc.
Yeah.
But it's a passion that everyone has on the committee to get that awareness out there because even the people who haven't had concussions see how it can affect, the people around them or their friends, their family, their housemates. So it's a passion that everybody on the committee has.
Right. So how many housemates do you have? I see you're in your room there now, but
Yeah, I have five other housemates.
I have the same size house myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a lot. It's
Yeah.
a learning curve, but
Yeah.
they're great.
Yeah,
They're
and
great.
then when you had your concussion, they were all, well, I don't know if you were in the same house, but they were all very supportive of you then and
Oh,
this understanding.
it was honestly a really incredible thing to have that, social support system and having my
Yeah.
friends and, the people that are closest to me here, being in the same house always. It was
Yeah.
very nice to have their support always and, having them check up on me. And I definitely owe that to, my best friends for
Yeah.
really helping my care and, taking me to the hospital whenever I needed it or walking with me to class, doing, various little things. And I definitely, that was a big step for my recovery was having that social support system.
Yeah, no, I think that's important because I mean, a lot of people who know people that have concussions are saying, "Oh, I don't know anything about concussions," and like for example, Katie's going through concussions. I don't know anything about concussions, but you don't need to know anything. You don't need to be an expert. Just be there for your friend and to give them
Yeah.
support that they need. So
Yeah, like you
it's
don't
not
want to,
complicated.
I think that's really important with having a concussion at university is I feel like people, maybe even in first year, if you're living alone in residence, you might have a tendency to kind of isolate yourself because you
Yeah,
are recovering and you can't keep up, or you might not be able to keep up with the activities that university kind of pushes you into.
yeah,
So basically, having a social support system or asking people, um, to be there and even hang out and just be there in a very like relaxing setting with you. That's really important to have. People checking up on you and, pushing yourself for that social support system because I find that that's in my experiences and from other experiences I've heard, that seems to be a very effective way in guiding recovery because, having one brain or having two brains is better than one, you're able
yeah.
to pass, ideas around and different considerations, and it's definitely a good idea having a few people in.
And the two brains in the society, the committee, you're saying like so. I mean, that's you back to the concussion committee and your co-president. So what do you guys? What does the committee have coming up in terms of events or coffee houses? I saw and there's few other, just like, so there's like some a size on called for singers or performers,
Yeah,
and
so it's really exciting actually. We This is one of our smaller events, and we like to host various different smaller events throughout the year, just to kind of get that awareness out there in the weeks around the school year. So what we have coming up on January 23rd is our coffee house. We hosted our first one last year, and this is our second time hosting it, and it's going to be in Kingston downtown from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And we're basically looking for singers, performers, that kind of thing to come and perform at our coffee house just for the 2 hours. And all the funds that we raise from our tickets, which are $5 each, go towards funding our conference. And our conference, which this is going to be really long-winded, but
yeah,
our
go for it.
conference, so it's coming up. This is going to be our second annual concussion conference, and it's on February 27th from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. And it's labeled Brain Injuries in the Military, Lessons Learned from the Concussion Crisis in Sports. So basically, it's being held at the Isabel Bader Center in Kingston, which is right along the water. It's a beautiful setting. We're collaborating with CIMVR, which is the Canadian Institute for Military and Veteran Health Research, along with the Concussion Legacy Foundation of Canada, to basically host this conference and get various speakers. We're also collaborating with dozens of other organizations and foundations across Canada who are going to be attending this conference. And we're just looking to, introduce new research and input from both, various researchers. We have an athlete panel and also a military panel. So we're kind of
from like RMC or
yeah. So we're actually and also from CIMVR, because it's a military and veteran health research. We're getting a lot of information from that.
So RMC is Royal Military College of Canada, and CIMVR. What's CIMVR?
It's the Canadian Institute for Military and Veteran Health Research.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a big name, but yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, but no, we're definitely really excited. We're proposing to hopefully have a few hundred people attend this conference, and nice. We don't have speakers fully confirmed yet, but it's something that's coming within the next hopefully week or two. Nice. And we're going to be posting updates all over our social media, and we're looking for people from all across Canada to come to this conference, because it is a really big, idea, and it's something that hasn't been, accessed a lot, like concussions in the military and in sports. It's usually, you associate concussions with sports or, other activities of daily living, but concussions in the military is something that is new and we're really trying to bring to light, even though, we don't have a military, as a part of Queens, but we do have RC right down the road from us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's a big part of the Queens or the Kingston community, is having RC in our presence as well. So we're trying to get that across.
Great. So where can people, if people want to interested right now, where can they get tickets, or who do they contact?
So we're going to be having, I believe it's an Eventbrite, posted on our social media, and we haven't come out with that yet because we are still over a month away, but registration will be starting very shortly. And we have various social media platforms through the Concussion Awareness Committee at Queens that people can access that once we post it. And so our Facebook is just Queens Concussion Awareness Committee, and you'll see us right away. We also have an Instagram, which is q.c.a.c, QCAC.
Yeah,
and then
repost a few of your posts on that. So
yeah. Then lastly, if there's anyone that wants to contact us more personally or privately, our email is concussion@clubs.queensu.ca. So that's for anyone who wants to ask questions, or they can message us over our other two platforms on Facebook or Instagram.
Well, that's awesome. That's good to know how people can reach out and find out more about concussions and the awareness committee and what you got going on. So, and also one more thing if going on is doing a podcast for the Queen's Concussion Awareness Committee, and it'll be on Concussion Talks SoundCloud, all the SoundCloud YouTube, not YouTube necessarily, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. I'm missing something. I don't want to be getting jerk here and forget thing. Stitcher, Google Play. Anyway, a bunch of all my anywhere you get my podcasts, you get Queen. So Katie, you're gonna host this podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get some people together to talk about. We were thinking like various experiences with concussions for students.
Great, that's just perfect.
That would be a really great idea because we hear a lot from researchers and a lot from other different, medical and health professionals. But I think it would be an interesting perspective to actually hear from students who are currently going through it, and if they would like to talk about their own story and how other students can relate to it and getting that out to the Queen's community. That would be a really interesting idea.
I think that's an excellent idea. So, yeah. So that's good about all the questions I think that I have, and I know that I have. But I mean,
yeah, for sure.
is there anything more that you would have that you would like to mention at all, or are you?
I'd say the last and final thing I'd like to mention is just regarding, how people handle concussions at university, not just within athletics. Just as a basic university student, it's very difficult, and I've heard of many different pathways that people go on. And currently at Queen's, there's no clear pathway. But I think that, pairing and collaborating with different services at Queen's, like our student wellness service, different occupational therapists, athletic therapists, and the doctors here at Queen's, I think that we should create a more clear path for students to go down and giving them more clear resources. Because I know a lot of people don't know where to go once they have a concussion. And that's what we're trying to do as a committee. We're trying to give people those resources. But I think pairing up with, various different services would be really effective in doing that. And I think for all university students across Canada, I think that there should be a more implemented plan of action in giving students those clear resources, just as we do if they have any other health problem. Like we want to give them a clear resource that they can access if they experience one, and kind of breaking down that barrier of accessibility of services kind of thing.
That's a great point. That's the whole if you can't see it, doesn't exist kind of philosophy. Is like the invisible injury, brain injury. It's often described as. So, that's an excellent point, and thank you for bringing it up. And also, so thank you, Katie, so much for joining me, and I'm looking forward to this new podcast you guys will be doing. And good luck with your coffee house, and hopefully you're planning. I guess still planning for that conference. And yes, so where is the coffee house? Where you said downtown Kingston, but where exactly is it?
It's at Canteen. So it's right on Princess Street. I don't know the address exactly, but that'll be on our Facebook. So yeah.
Oh well, great. Well, I encourage everyone in Kingston or Queens, check it out, and anyone around Canada, whatever, U.S. doesn't matter. Europe, who knows? Asia. I mean, Antarctica. Just come to Queens for the conference, to Kingston for the conference in end of February. So, thank you. Thanks you so much, Katie.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again to Katie. And please visit www.concussiontalk.com to find out when Queen's Concussion Awareness Committee puts out their first podcast, and to see a listing and read a description of all of my podcasts from my big trip across Canada in '02, from Phoenix Concussion Recovery podcasts, and all of the Concussion Talk podcasts. You can also read on my blogs and find a link to my ebook Detour about my big trip across Canada in '02 and my brain injury in 2003. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, and I hope you'll listen again soon. As always, music at the beginning of this podcast is by Ben Sound, www.bensound.com. com.